and let it run through space at the speed of sound or the speed of light, or better yet, I believe the speed of thought, and it would disintegrate. So God took the only part he could take. He took John in the spirit. This is a real event. It's not some dream he had after eating my wife's Russian pickles. This was just plain stuff.
Russian pickles.
I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne set in heaven, and one sat on the throne.
Yeah.
You may not know who that is, but I do.
Yeah.
John went from the Isle of Patmos. Now that transition from there, I was talking to Pastor Day, I said, can you imagine those little kids in Syria that's never had anything? Who have suffered, who have gone hungry, who have seen their parents killed, who have seen their churches burned, who lived in houses that you wouldn't put your cattle in, for them to have their heads cut off and immediately be in the presence of Jesus. Can you believe? I guarantee you they sound like Gomer Pyle. Golly, look at here. And there was a celebration in heaven for those kids that you and I cannot imagine. Amen. For those 21 Coptic Christians that were just slaughtered. God has a special love, and he calls them the martyred multitude. But here John is going from a rock to the presence of Jesus Christ. If he'd have been in the body, his heart would have blown up, his mind would have melted. So he took him in the spirit. I don't want some liberal to take that joy away from him because he didn't go in the body. Well, he couldn't go in the body. But he will. Let's go on. I need to really hear y'all slowest listening. And he said, he who sat there was like jasper and sardius stone in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne in appearance like an emerald. I used to think, why was it green? Our rainbow's not green. Well, he couldn't use our rainbow because our rainbow expresses the judgment of God on the earth in the 6th chapter of Genesis. There's no judgment in heaven. But I do know that in the Hebrew color system, green means eternal. We're looking at the eternal Son of God sitting on the throne. John is sitting there. John is seeing him in all of his majesty. Probably going, boom, 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 boom. You know, I'm sure he was that close to having a nervous breakdown. He said, the rainbows around the throne. Verse 4, and around the throne were 24 thrones, and on the thrones I saw 24 elders. This most possibly is representative of the 12 tribes of Israel. Anybody know what the number 12 means in Hebrew numerical system? It means divine government. It means perfect government. That's why we don't have any 12s in our Senate and our Congress, because it don't fit in dead. But here it does. 12 of the elders of Israel and 12 of the apostles is a good possibility of what this is. Now here we have a throne, and around it we have 24 thrones. I like the way Jesus does things. They're elders. Let's jump over to verse. By the way, the message is in the next chapter. I'm just getting you ready for it, because if I don't, you won't be able to take it. The 4 living creatures, having 6 wings. Oh, I told you, Brother Ellis, angels have wings. It said creatures. I'm still standing my ground. None of you's proved me wrong. Angels don't have wings and they don't sing. I noticed at the Christmas play last year, as the wise men came down and the angels, when they passed my seat, they were all holding their heads down. I'm not going to change anybody's opinion. But these were creatures. What kind of creatures? I don't know. But I want to tell you this. If they're standing around the throne of God, they're super duper creatures. They are beautiful beyond our imagination. And what are they doing? They sing night and day. They have always sung night and day. They were before the creation of the world. They never get tired praising the Lord, and they're creatures. They never have been saved. And we come to church, and if we ask to sing a hymn, it sounds like a singing ship. Holy, 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 the Trinity. Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Now, who was, past tense, is present tense, is coming, future tense, and you put them together, and what do you get? It's the same as the ego eimi, I am. This is the I am. This is the same personage in the Trinity that talked to Moses in the burning bush. This is the same one that walked with Adam and Eve in the garden. This is the same one that closed the door to the ark. This is Yahweh, Adonai. It is Jesus that he saved. I really thought you'd listen quicker, so I'm going to skip some here because Pastor told me after 3 hours they'll go home anyway. Chapter 5. David, if you go to sleep, I will personally come down and beat you. Let me just stop here. Y'all just put your mind right here. David, smart enough. Get your Bible and open it. Hold it on your lap. And when you do like this, everybody thinks you're reading the Bible with your spirit. Okay? But if you ain't got it, get your Bible. I've used that for years, and it works. Everybody says, oh, you really like to read your Bible? I said, oh. All right. Chapter 5. Now remember I said something happened in the garden that changed everything. We're going to see that in this chapter. Look what he says. And I saw in the right hand of him. Whose hand? Jesus. I saw in Jesus' right hand, who sat on the throne, I saw a scroll written inside and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. My friends, you don't write a scroll on the inside and the outside. You saw those scrolls over here. Those are a good example. The ink will go through, it'll blot up. It's just not unless it was a supernatural scroll. Now, I don't want you to miss this. A scroll is 2 wooden stakes with handles on it, and you roll up. You do it like that. You roll it. Now, remember, Hebrew reads from the right to the left. You roll it up, and then you get through. You roll it some more. Okay? You've seen that. You saw this over here. But it said that that scroll had 7 seals on it. I've seen pictures of a scroll that had 7 seals on the outside. That's not what he said. That's not the way you read a scroll. On the outside, there would have been a scroll with a seal. You broke that seal. You read up and to the next seal. Then you break that seal. You read to the next seal. Why 7 seals? He's talking about the 7 seals that start in the next chapter of the judgment of God on the earth. We together? John knew, because he was in heaven, he had total knowledge. He was now in eternity, operating in eternity. He could see creation. He could see the flood. He could see Jesus as a little baby. He could see the rapture. He could see the millennial kingdom, because in eternity, everything is in the present. And he began to see beyond anything he had ever seen. John realized what we don't realize today of what happened in the garden that goes beyond Adam and Eve losing their relationships with God. He saw it. Look what he says. It was written on the front and back, and he says then in verse 4, then I saw a strong angel. There's many kinds of angels. We think they're all the same. They're not the same. There's strong angels. There's fast angels. There's bright angels. There's quiet angels. There's angels that speak with loud voices. All kinds of angels. And he said, this angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the scroll and to loose its seals, plural. Well, and no one in heaven or on the earth or under the earth in Hades or Sheol was able to open the scroll or to even look at it. This is a big deal. Now, John already knew what was in it because he had by then the knowledge of God. You understand? We don't have it. I'm closer than some people are, but I don't really have it. He goes on, and John is broken. John begins to weep out of control. That's what it says. I wept much, because no one was found worthy to open and read the scroll or to even look at it. But then, one of the elders said to me, John, quit your crying. Dry your tears. You haven't seen the whole thing. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
Behold, the root of David has prevailed to open the scroll and to loose the seven seals. And I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne, and at the four living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, as though he had been slain, having 7 horns. Horns is power. 7 is perfection, perfect power. And 7 eyes. Eyes is talking about judgment. He had perfect judgment. Nobody will be treated wrong under his kingdom. And he said, which are the 7 spirits of God. Then he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And they began to go through the scroll. What is the scroll? The scroll in the 5th chapter of Revelation is the title deed to the earth.
Yep.
See, Adam and Eve, when they walked with Jesus in the garden, God, Elohim, gave them the title deed to the earth. He said, watch it, till it, and it'll provide everything you need. There were no tornadoes or hurricanes or sicknesses. You could cut yourself, but you wouldn't bleed because of the barometric pressure, because of the canopy and all the other things. Everything was in order that God created it. They did not just lose fellowship. They did not lose the capacity to live forever. That's not all they lost. They lost the title deed to the earth that God